Hello, I'm Michael Gannon, editor of Glass and Glazing magazine. To see a fuller version of the interview that you're going to see with Nigel Rees, Chief Executive Officer of the Glass and Glazing Federation, you can log on to www.ggpmag.com. Nigel Rees, since you've taken over the job as Chief Executive of the GGF in 2002,
Yes.
What have been the major areas that you've set out to address?
I think initially, obviously, being a membership organisation, the most important matter is the members themselves. So satisfy their needs and requirements, very much so. But equally look towards the financial stability of the Federation, as we've experienced over the last 12 to 18 months with the difficult trading conditions. If you don't have a solid base, then you're going to have difficulties there.
What's come more to the forefront in terms of issues in this period?
I think certainly the assisting the members through the difficult times has proved quite a challenge, as well as the desire of government to change everything continually. The amount of building regulations, technical standards, European and international standards that we've been working on over the recent period to try and ensure the members have the necessary base to work from.
But can you say the GGF has been particularly effective in any area? For example, no amount of lobbying and number of statements that have been made to the government have resulted in for example, the reduction of VAT to 5% for replacement windows.
I mean, when taking the VAT issue, that was never going to be changed overnight. We knew that was a major challenge. We've worked on that probably for about 5 years now, as have a lot of other organisations. And we're certainly seeing a different attitude now to what we were seeing 5 years ago. 5 years ago, the door was being slammed in our face. My last meeting with Treasury, which was about a month ago, with Burr officials as well, was very much along the lines of, yes, it's on our agenda, we need to be convinced. How we produce the necessary information to convince them is a matter we're still working with. We've seen the various issues from the Isle of Man, where it was trialled, where they actually generated more tax income from the work that was undertaken, which was a greater level than they'd expected. We've also seen the surveys that were taking place in Scotland, which are showing vast numbers of people would undertake home improvements if the VAT figure was reduced.
Of course, early on in the time you took over, there was also the launch of Fencer, and I can well remember there was quite some strong comments made against it. That was quite a difficult period for you to really overcome with your colleagues.
It was, certainly. I mean, I'd just taken over the Federation then. I think whether David saw something on the horizon, I don't know. But
this is David Ballard.
Yes. So I think one of the issues is, and not a derogatory statement, but I think one thing I've picked up in my time at the Federation is that our industry doesn't like change, doesn't immediately respond quickly to change. We were faced with Fencer, or we were faced with the requirement for a competent person scheme for the replacement of windows and doors. And we put forward a scheme which initially faced quite a bit of criticism. Was it another Quango being set up? Was it just a cash cow that's going to generate money, provide nothing for the industry? Excuse me, we're now looking at an organisation that has in excess of 9,100 registered businesses.
Well, a feeling that persists was some fabricators, manufacturers, that the GGF is a trade association that is more concerned with defending the big boys than the smaller sized members. What is your defence to this accusation?
It's a statement that's been made in the 13 years I've been at the Federation continually, and we continually try to combat that. My opinion and the stance of the Federation is that it's one member, one vote. Whether you're the smallest member with 1 or 2 staff, or whether you're one of the nationals or the international companies we have in membership.
Fabricators and installers are fighting to keep their heads above water, as you're well aware, of course.
Certainly.
What is the evidence that membership of the GGF can help in this difficult period?
Well, I tried to make a statement to our membership in my sort of New Year message, which was basically that there's never a better time to be in a trade federation than now. What we're finding is that as times are hard, companies are going to have to work even harder, as you say, to keep their head above water. What they don't want to do is be sidetracked into areas that aren't specifically their strengths. Their strengths are manufacturing a product, processing a product, installing that product. They don't want to be bogged down in technical changes, in changes to employment law, health and safety issues, etc. So our role is to be there to preempt what the problem areas they're going to face and have the answers ready for them so they can take that forward.
Now, just looking wider than the GGF, other schemes you've been supporting, for example, Trustmark, have they really worked out in flushing the road traders, or do you think sterner methods should be employed?
I think it's a start. The biggest problem facing Trustmark or any scheme of its sort is to get the necessary consumer awareness of what it is. The idea is sound, and it's something we wish to support because it's the right way forward. The difficulty is that the government are balancing their books as well as everyone else, and some of the original funding that we were hoping for, or that Trustmark was hoping for, was redirected into other areas. So a lot of the actual advertising didn't happen. Now, if the consumers don't understand what Trustmark is, or what it is, or what it can offer, they won't use it. If the consumer doesn't use it, the membership of the various trade federations and the registered operators will lose interest in the scheme because they're not going to gain business from it, and it won't achieve what we're hoping for is to get rid of the less reputable traders out there.
Can you ever see the end of Phoenix companies, which is a curse that seems to be with us like the poor forever?
For some reason, our industry seems to be, harder hit with Phoenix companies than others. But I mean, as a voluntary trade federation, we will never be able to combat Phoenix companies. We will never stop them operating. What we can do is we can stop them coming into the federation, which is why, in fact, when we had our strategy review, as most people seem to do at the end of the 90s, we actually increased the vetting procedure for the federation from 2 years trading to 3 years trading to specifically stop somebody who's gone out of business, dumped a lot of debts, coming straight back in and using the benefit of a trade federation or any organisation that's carrying a logo that has consumer recognition. Until there's a change in government legislation, that can never happen. It's only the government that could stop a Phoenix company.
And just ending the interview on an upbeat note, what have been, say, the greatest sources of satisfaction for you since you've been Chief Executive? I
think the way the Federation has grown, the strength that's come out of the Federation in moving us forward, the growth into a group of subsidiary companies that are providing the necessary support to the industry. But also I think our change within the Federation from being purely UK based to looking at more of an international picture, that's been very satisfactory. Certainly the growth of our membership in the Gulf regions, which is continuing to grow, being able to provide technical standards that all the companies within the Gulf can operate to, and the response we're getting from those companies is very, very satisfying. So I think that and the general well-being of the Federation, the strength of the membership, and the fact that I truly believe that with our support we've helped to make the companies operate better and get through these difficult times.
Right, thank you, Nigel.
Thank you.